Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Buyer's Remorse with Darren and Justin.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Justin.
I'm Darren.
Here on Buyer's Remorse, we find games that are in each other's libraries, untouched or unplayed, and have the other person play them because they bought them for 60 minutes, and then come back to tell us if it is a wonderful buyer's confirmation or a dreaded buyer's remorse. What game did you choose for yourself this time?
Dogolrax.
You suggested this as an option, and uncharacteristically, I said okay, because it looked very strange.
It's just, when I texted you, I was like, you haven't, I didn't even know that I had this game, right? And it wasn't until I was looking through my library, because man, Steam libraries, once they get to a certain amount, it's like, I've just lost track of stuff that's in there. Like,
I'm looking through mine as though I'm looking at Netflix. Oh,
yeah. Oh, there's
when did that one come here?
It's so bizarre. It's weird, man. It's weird. Like back in the day when you had to buy a physical copy of something, you knew everything that was in your library. Granted, you probably only had, if you were me, maybe 30 games at a time. But yeah, like just having a digital library where exactly like Netflix is like, oh, I'll give this a shot. I didn't realize this was in here. And I saw this game called Dogolrax, and it's mixed reviews, and it looks terrible, and it's got a bad Steam page.
The mixed reviews were a huge sell for me to say yes. Anytime it's a mixed review, that makes me interested in what it could be.
Or a positive review with only 2 reviews. Yeah. But this was a weird one, man. So it's made in 2017 by, published and developed by Team Shuriken. Don't know who they are. They haven't done any other games. It's $5. I certainly didn't pay $5 for it. No way. And it's one of these games that tries to trick you into thinking it's a game of anime tits and ass. But it's not. There's nudity tags. There's sexual tags on the store page. You warned me. You were like, well, I don't know if you can stream that on Twitch because
I don't know what their policies are.
And I'm pretty sure it's a zero tolerance. No nudity and things like that. So basically, this is what the store page says. It says, you awake on an unknown planet with amnesia. What are those horrific monsters? Who are these mysterious priestesses? Inspired by cult classes such as Another World, Flashback, and others, Dogolrax aims to surprise you in ways few games have. It's all lies.
I did wonder, when it starts making reference to Another Age and Flashback, it did give me pause because you love those games.
Yeah, I do. And the trailer is... so the first thing you see when you look on the static picture, it's an anime girl with some side boob and she's covered in blood, right? So it's pretty much checking all the boxes for, kind of edgy content, right? And then it's got the tags in there, nudity, sexual, sexual something. And so, yeah, if you were into that, then you'd be like, oh man, this is the game for me. I don't really play those games. I probably bought this because of Another World. And the trailer is ripped off of Another World. It's like, it's got the guy, it's got the same color scheme, but there's some really weird bits if you watch the trailer. There's just some odd, like really gory parts to the game. There's at one point where he pulls out a butcher's cleaver out of this dead guy's head. Blood comes out of it. There's some really, it's definitely not for kids, this game, that's for sure.
Is it the same level of graphics as Another World?
It's about the same level, yeah. I'd put it at 16-bit kind of Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive kind of level. But yeah, so you wake up on an island, or in this other world, I guess, and you find a gun. But when you find the gun, there's an anime girl there, and then like a nuclear bomb goes off, and her skin just gets blown off, and she's just a skeleton. And then you fall down through the earth into a tunnel system, and then you kind of wake up again. You see this animation of you lying on your back with your arms and legs out, and they use that animation a lot in the game. They definitely got their money's worth on that. But yeah, it's just a weird game. I don't know how to really explain it because...
Is there the puzzle element to Flashback in Another World?
I mean, no. Not really. Not really. No.
Is it 2D side scrolling?
It's all 2D side scroller. Yeah, 2D side scrolling.
But is it actually scrolling, or is it?
No, it's like another world, like static
screen by screen.
Yeah, static screen running from the left to the right side. But it's a mashup of games. So basically, what they've done is they've taken Another World or Flashback. They've taken Arkanoid. They've taken R-Type. They've taken like 1945. Like all these old school arcade games, and like kind of put them in this game. It's just weird. So you wake up, you go through this tunnel system, and then there's just little creatures that will come up and talk to you. And they'll be like, the overall story is that these priestesses and priests are planning to destroy the earth. And so you have to defeat them or something like that. The story is not exactly top-notch storytelling in here.
What a surprise.
Yeah. But it's just full of jokes and like just like gags. It's almost like it knows what it is. The store page says otherwise, but when you get into the game, it's like, gotcha. You know, it's just a piss take. It's a complete piss take, and it even makes fun of itself. Like the characters are just like, "Can you please kill me? Why? What's wrong?" It's like, because I really just don't like this game. Or it's like, there's stuff like that just dotted throughout the whole thing.
I will say this. I find this a lot with indie games, and it is something that has become a bit of an overused trope of we know we're in a game,
right?
And let's make meta jokes about it.
Yep.
It can work, but it's a very thin line, it feels these days, because of how often I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
let me put it this way. It only works if a game is good.
True, yeah. But basically, this game, everything wants you dead, right? That's what I wrote down. Everything wants you dead. So you've got gotcha moments in the game. So you got a gun. You'll shoot something. And then when you shoot it, something will fall on your head and you die. Or you'll
That does sound very Another World.
Yeah. You'll walk into something. It will say, hey, stand over here. You stand there and you'll die. You do this, you die. That there are parts of the game that turn into like bullet hell kind of games where there's just things flying everywhere and you have to navigate around. Rather than be in the foreground, there's parts of the game where it's all in the background and you're only about like 4 or 5 pixels high, but there's just things flying everywhere and it's a lot of platform jumping onto moving platforms and you just die. Luckily though, there's no lives and there's a decent checkpoint system. Otherwise, this would be an absolute nightmare of a game. But pretty much, the part that you die on, you'll start either on that screen or the screen just before it, depending on like how much action was going on in that screen. But yeah, so it's basically over-the-top violence and mashup of all these games. Like so, there'll be parts where you've got to collect eyes, and so basically you play an Arkanoid kind of game where you bounce the ball around to like set the eyes free and then you can collect them. There's an R-Type part where you say like the flying side-scrolling R-Type. Then there's if you shoot walls or there's secrets to be found in this game as well. And you go into special areas and then an arcade machine will just fall out of the sky. And so you go and start that and it's got like this, again, sexy anime girl. And the game is very, very simple. You've got like a little spaceship and there's a bunch of energy balls, and then it'll go like 3, 2, 1, boom, and then all the balls will start moving all around the screen, and you have to just stay alive, much like the combat system in Undertale.
To play that game, though, do you have to pixel hunt for a quarter or something?
No, you just walk up to the screen, and it just activates.
Okay.
So basically, you're just avoiding all these things, and then you've got to do it for a set timer. When you complete it, you get a page from an encyclopedia. You know, so you're thinking, oh, here's where the hot anime action is. It's like, I'm gonna get something out of this. Like, no. It's a page of like a bestiary for this world. Really, this is the blah 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 worm, and this is what it feeds on. And again, it's all done very comically. Weird. Anyway, I played it for an hour and I finished it in an hour.
Oh, you did?
I finished it, yeah.
Did you get end credits?
Yeah, so basically you get to the end. Sorry, spoilers here. If you don't want to know the end of Dogolrax, then turn off now.
From Darren's awesome recommendation thus far.
So basically you find a ship and then...
Are you talking...
Spaceship.
Thank you.
Yeah, spaceship. You get in the spaceship and then you fly away and you meet an intergalactic anime sexy cop who says, our only chance to continue the human race is for us to get together. Wink, wink. Like, okay. And then you meet a dinosaur who asks you what you want as a prize for finishing the game. And so the top one is a demake of the game. And it just is that. It just puts it basically from 16-bit to 8-bit. And so you can play the R-Type level again in 8-bit. Or it says, a picture of a naked star on a beach. And so, of course, I chose that one first.
And you just get a literal 5-point star, I'm assuming.
I was thinking it was going to be that. But it was a picture of the dinosaur with the pair of sunglasses on at the beach.
That's actually much better.
And then also you get a bonus game at the end where the bonus game is impossible. It was where I gave up. That was where my hour ended. You get a bonus game where you have to... It's one of those like bottom to top scrolling 1945 games where you fly the ship and everything's shooting at you. But rather than have 10 lives and just you die and then you get another ship, you die, you get another ship, all of your ships are on the screen at the same time.
You have to control them all as one unit.
Yes, they're all just centered around you. And so if you touch something on this side, you die. If you're dodging a bullet on this side to get away from it, you run into a bullet on this side. So all your ships around you are just like popping like party balloons. And I got right up to the end with like 2 ships, and it's just this massive thing, just like lasers and cannons and bubbles and just bombs flying out of it. And yeah, I was like, fuck that shit, man. I'm not playing this anymore.
But you did make it to your hour.
I got to the hour, and yeah, I mean, the music is actually quite good, but it's got this weird, some parts of it have this really annoying like panpipe music. It's just, it's not long enough, and it's just on this continuous loop. So that really drove me insane. But like the more 80s kind of like beats that they've got in there, I like that. But that panpipe music has got to go. It was terrible. Yeah, so weird game. And that's all I've got to say about it.
So would you recommend this game to me?
Yeah.
Do you know what its base price is?
It's $5.
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting it for that.
You're not getting it for $5 because, like I said, you will finish it or you'll be done with it in an hour. So I would recommend it to people. So who I would not recommend it to is anyone who's expecting one of these like waifu game simulator things or whatever they're called. This is not... Remember that game we played where it's got like the anime girl on the cover, but it was like Gladiator Trainer Simulator we did for Buyer's Remorse. Or I did it. I did it. Remember that cover? I don't know if you remember the cover, but it was this anime, sexy side boob anime picture. But the game itself has nothing of anime in it.
All right, well, let me ask you this. Because it claims to be like another world and flashback to people who like those games.
Yes.
You would recommend it?
I would. Okay. Because it's a nostalgia game for sure. That's like, oh, you remember this, blah, blah, blah. And so it's toying with that. It's obviously not going to be another world. And it's janky controls. The jumping is terrible. The platforming elements are just pull your hair out nonsense. In some parts, there's like Super Meat Boy level parts where you just like there's spinning discs, blades and things, spikes, laser beams. Those parts drove me crazy. But the checkpoint system is good. So it's like you die, you go straight back in, and it often leads to you tilting and just making the same mistake over and over again. Just dying. If you go in thinking of it as a kind of comedy piss take of old games with really dumb writing and just kind of silly humor, it could be for you.
Do you think you go back to this game in the future?
I think, now that I know that there's no real nudity in it, I think I'm going to stream it. So,
Okay.
I think so, so I'll probably go back and play it. I'm not going to go back for 100% completion. The arcade games, they get really hard. It starts out with 4 balls that are bouncing around, then it goes up to like 6, then it's 8, then it's 16. The one that I found, it was like, I don't know, it looked like 30 balls, and you're just finding tiny spaces to weave and there's no pattern. And even when they bounce off the walls, they don't even bounce like as physics would determine it. They just bounce at random angles. They can come straight back at you, off of they should be doing like a 45-degree bounce, but they just reverse. Yeah, so I'm not going in for the achievements or anything like that. But it's a weird thing. There are other paths that you can take, and there's multiple ways to go through areas. And sometimes the game will even have arrows and saying, do you want to do the hard way or do you want to do the easy way? And it's not like the easy and hard ways are just. It's not like the easy way is a simplified map of the hard way. The hard way is a completely different map and playstyle and game, like mini game altogether. So some work has been put in. Completionists might have a really good time playing this. I certainly wouldn't, because there's no way.
What tags would you give it?
I came prepared for this one. I said it's a retro mashup comedy.
Sounds fitting. And I think I already know the answer for this. Is this a wonderful buyer's confirmation or a dreaded buyer's remorse?
Don't get it for $5, and it'll be a confirmation.